Hello and welcome to FilmFile from the Foyer, March edition, marching into the summer season. Sorry, that was awful.
I feel dirty. I need to shower.
Andy will get his coat now and leave. I'm Andy and I'm here once again with Kase, Rob and Jace.
Nobody's ever called him Jace.
Loads of people are coming.
I call you Jace.
It just felt good with Kase and Jace.
Jace and Jace.
Sick on waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So March, we've just had the awards season. It all finished with the great Oscars that we had this year. Let's just touch upon the Oscars, because there's a few of us who all sat and watched it overnight and bellowed at the TV and bellowed at each other a few times.
Yeah.
And
They were for me, it was pretty much by the numbers. The only one that was really in contention was the best actor, and that could have gone pretty much any which way. And it went to McConaughey, who did give a fantastic performance, but DiCaprio would have been amazing if he won. It would have been amazing if I personally wanted Chiwetel Ejiofor to win. That performance was incredible. I think it was better than McConaughey and DiCaprio's, but the fact that any one of those three winning would have been just. Everyone else, it was kind of almost a foregone conclusion. I was happy with.
although the best film, from the best editing onwards, you were so convinced.
Oh yeah, well, best editing, best director. How is that not the best film?
Because it wasn't a great story.
So many facts about best editing Oscar. I was like,
Well, I don't know.
Guillermo del 2 was one.
Did Guillermo del 2 win best editing? That was really high. I'm really sorry. Did
Guillermo
Guillermo del 2 win best editing?
And Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, I had a look into it, and since editing became an Oscar category in 1934, only 9 films have won Best Picture without at least a nomination for editing. The last was 1980's Ordinary People, when this article was written. And of the 61 films that have won Best Picture Oscars since 1952, 32 of them got the editing statuette as well.
I thought it was more than that.
They've all been nominated,
Yeah.
so if something's not been nominated, chances are that's not going to win Best Picture.
I would be interested to know when the last time something won best editing and best directing, but not best picture. Because they're pretty big awards, edited and directed.
Yeah.
And more often than not, they tend to go hand in hand. So it's just curious.
If anyone wants to save us a Google search, go onto our Twitter feed at FilmFile UK and just send us the answer to that one.
See, last year
there might even be a prize for you. I might have a cookie.
As soon as
I do
Argo,
have some stale cookies in my locker. I've been there for a couple of days.
as soon as Argo won best editing last year, we were jumping up and down. We're like, yes, Affleck's going to win, and he won. That's where my mind was.
Yeah, I've always said that while something can have best editing, best director, etc., the best picture, it's got to be good on every category. Yeah. And Gravity, as much as I love it, it's not that great a story because it's a very simple framework to showcase effects and drama. It's not a solid story, and I think that's the only thing that let it down. I still not watch it on her home release. I don't intend to.
No, I don't think I intend to. It'd be nice if it got like a re-release every Oscar season in the IMAX.
I think it probably will.
Yeah.
The amount of times.
Well, it's not still on at the minute.
Yeah.
Still on, yeah, and it's out on Blu-ray as well now, isn't it? Yeah.
And probably shouldn't be saying this. I have told customers that have asked me for tickets for Gravity. I've said it's out on Blu-ray, and they've gone home. I watched it on Blu-ray, and I've
come back and had a go at you for good.
No, they said yeah, it's fantastic, but we'd also paid to watch Need for Speed instead of watching Gravity.
Oof.
So,
you harsh person.
I know.
Stop them from watching Gravity and get them to watch Need for Speed.
I'm worse than Hitler. So. I can't even look at myself in the mirror anymore.
I haven't seen Gravity, but
you're still not seeing it.
It's still at the cinema and it's on Blu-ray and DVD, so you have no excuse.
I was going to say, Need for Speed is.
What are you doing in this podcast? We bring you in just for a joke.
I'm excited to hear your opinion on a film that I'm sure we'll discuss later.
Yeah, I mean, a quick last. This has got to be the last touching on Gravity because pretty much every podcast we've mentioned it at some point.
Film of the year.
But now it's on home release. My only intention for getting hold of the Blu-ray is for the extras because I've heard it's got quite a good wealth of extras.
Definitely.
And that's the kind of film that you want to see how it was all done. You want to understand that because it was so, the seamless CGI to real life. You want to see how they got it so perfect.
It reminds me when the extended Lord of the Rings came out.
Yeah.
Rob knew exactly
Rob's
what I was
gone
going
into
to say.
Dream World now.
Just clutching his heart.
Yeah.
I
spent weeks delving
wanted
through
to
that.
know. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
God, yeah.
I've still not watched it all.
No.
I have watched everything.
There's little like sub things, like little
So
extra
many
things.
Easter eggs.
I haven't watched on the Blu-ray. There's more documentaries, candid documentaries that like they were doing as they were filming, and I haven't watched all the commentaries. I've watched the director commentaries, but I haven't watched the cast commentary, which I hear is hilarious.
Yeah.
No, I might have to start watching it.
I am due a rewatch at some point.
Just to touch briefly back onto the Oscars, Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah.
Yes, Jennifer Lawrence didn't win, and I was so happy.
She is all round. Jennifer Lawrence wasn't recognised.
As much as we all love Jennifer Lawrence.
In fact, was anyone recognised for American Hustle?
No. They went full colour purple. It was just.
It got snubbed across the board, which is very strange for a David O. Russell film.
Yeah.
Normally his films are Oscar bait.
It's nice to see the Oscars actually not promote it, because obviously it wasn't that good of a film. Yeah. It wasn't good. Well, it was good, but it wasn't good enough. And it's nice that the Oscars just didn't hand it to it. I loved the fact that Lupita Nyong'o got Best Supporting Actress. That was really good. That was probably one of the highlights of the night.
The only thing that's annoyed me since that is I've had many rants with people on Facebook and forums because now everyone's like, oh well, she should be storming the X-Men films, and oh, she needs to be cast in this. It's like none of you paid attention to it before. It's like, well, she's only just been in her first film. It's like, no, I mean none of you paid attention until she won an Oscar. That film's been out since November in the US, so why weren't you campaigning then? Exactly. And it's people say, well, no one knew her. It's like, no, the film was there. Her performance was what was great. When I said last month that 12 Years a Slave, she deserved to win because she's absolutely fantastic. Definitely. I knew that from watching that film. I didn't need her to have an Oscar to tell me she's a great actress. Yeah. But loads of people don't recognise anyone until they go, yeah, look what I've won.
Yeah, people use it.
I think that's sad.
Definitely, to get more roles, really. I mean, you think about Matthew McConaughey, the type of roles that he's going to be offering now. And I mean, he's done incredible work in the past couple of years, but... all the directors,
including TV work on True Detective, absolutely brilliant performance.
I've just watched the first episode, and the first episode alone is incredible. Yeah, it really is.
I've got it all ready to go. I'm off all this week, so
I'm probably going to watch the second episode tonight.
Did you get to see the Oscars, or did you just catch the highlights?
I didn't either, of course. Being Jason.
Oh, you.
So you didn't get to see how amazingly awkwardly bad DeGeneres was at hosting.
She wasn't bad. She was fine. Yeah,
she was.
That's
safe.
Harsh.
She was very safe.
I don't think she was James Franco bad.
No. Well, she wasn't.
But I just feel that it was just
comparatively. How awkward was she to James Corden of the Brits?
I don't know. I can't watch James Corden.
I caught a glimpse of that in the staff room on my break, and I was just like,
I've not watched the Brits in years.
I've not watched.
I think the last time I watched the Brits was Sam Fox and Mick Fleetwood presenting.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I know, that's the only reason I watched it. It was genius.
I don't know who those people are.
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, sorry, yeah.
Mick Fleetwood, Sam Fox, page 3 girl.
Both?
Big boobs.
No. I don't know who that is.
That's an entire season.
She wasn't all that attractive, but loads of blokes were like, whoa, get us dada.
Wasn't she? She's gay. She
I couldn't even care.
Yeah.
This podcast is taking a turn.
It is. Yeah. It's not about the sexual orientation of Patreon models.
Yeah,
this is why I should not have been introduced to the Oscars conversation.
I just didn't get what DeGeneres was doing.
She was trying to make everybody there feel at ease. It wasn't so much for people watching at home. It was so people
to be honest,
in their seats being like, oh, are they going to pick on me next?
I can't really remember anything she did bar the selfie.
Yeah.
And pizza
guy.
That pizza guy.
He was on the show, yeah.
He was on the show. He received
like
$1,000 tip from Ellen and all the other A-listers.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because that's another thing that looks so
Wait, was it
staged.
1,000 from each of them, or just...
No, just collectively. Then she put in a couple more.
It's a bit cheapskate, considering it was in that audience. I mean,
come on, Brad Pitt. Sorry.
It's got that must be staged. It must have been staged.
Well, I'm not sure.
That guy must be some actor from somewhere, you know. Yeah. I refuse to believe.
Probably like a triangle.
Well, you refuse to believe that videos of real.
I refuse to believe that Hollywood is real.
What have you got against pizza?
I have nothing against pizza.
You clearly do.
Yeah.
He looked too casual in that. Environments. Although
live
then again,
on TV,
if you're a pizza delivery driver in that part of Hollywood, chances are he's delivered pizza to big people before.
Bill Murray's house. That was one of the highlights of the Oscars. Sorry, Bill Murray giving shouting out to Harold Ramis.
It was a nice touch.
I love the fact that he apologised to the nomination because he was like, "Yeah, Harold Ramis is with you guys as well." Sorry, guys, here's the winner.
Oh, we just forgot something.
But that was a great little impromptu moment.
It was like with the in memoriam. Seeing a critic in there.
Roger Ebert.
Roger
The
Ebert.
amount of times I quoted Roger Ebert in my film studies essays is beyond count.
You did film studies essays?
I did, and I quoted Roger. And I did. I quoted Roger Ebert a fair bit.
Is that through laziness?
RogerEbert.com, all his reviews.
It's great. It's great to see that critics can be recognised as like a key important factor within the industry.
Yeah, especially someone as big and powerful. Like he's someone I went to him as a source for film knowledge for university level essays, and I did okay on them. But like he's someone who's like known. He's like you know who Roger Ebert is.
He always spoke his mind. He never followed trends. If he genuinely believed his opinion, he'd stick to his opinion.
He was one of the first people to like go online as well, went to with his reviews and stuff.
Pioneered a lot of the internet advancements on reviewing. So yeah, I mean, overall, it was a safe awards night, but that's because a lot of the choices this year, you'd have been happy.
Yeah, there was a lot that I would have been happy to win.
And since then, anyone else been going through a little lethargy with regards to film after the awards season?
A little bit.
Yeah,
it's not our fault though. It's non-stop, which was okay. And it was Need for Speed. And
I haven't seen it.
What else?
300. 300. Rise of an Empire is diabolical.
I disagree. Not just for the sake of it.
Really?
You have reasons.
I liked that it was parallel.
I hated that.
I liked that it wasn't just continuous masculine quotes, that it was too masculine of a film. And I liked Eva Green's character.
Yeah, Eva Green was brilliant. She was really good in it. She's the one saving grace.
I was engaged in that.
I don't know if I enjoyed her character so much. Just on a pure masculine.
Was there any parts of her character that you enjoyed?
That is obviously fair enough.
That was the weirdest sex scene I've ever seen in a film.
Watching
it was all teeth.
Watching that
Was
with
it
your dad.
weirder than
It
Showgirls?
was weird.
Oh yeah, that is awful.
What's that?
Was it a weirder sex scene than Showgirls?
The sex scene in Watchmen is quite weird. The soundtrack to that is a bit on the nose.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Is the Showgirls one the dolphin one?
Yes.
I've not seen Showgirls.
Oh, it's a treat. It's a rare treat.
It's confusing.
Well, yeah, so 300, the Rise of an Empire. You said you liked it was parallel. I flat out hated that because I'm sure there is a version of the screenplay out there that has Themistocles talking to Leonidas in Sparta just after he's kicked the guy down the hole. But I really hated that it kept referring back to 300 because 300 is such a good film. It's a really great little action movie in my opinion. And Rise of an Empire keeps referring back to it, and throughout the film, I was like, I'd much rather just be sat watching 300 right now. The action is...
Well, what you're saying there is you feel the film should have made itself not confident all this shit.
No, the film should have been confident enough in the story that followed 300, or it should have been confident in the parallel that it didn't have to keep referring back to the original.
I'm sure that film has so many different...
The problem with it is that the original idea for 300 Rise of an Empire was going to be an adaptation of Xerxes, which is a graphic novel that Frank Miller started writing years ago and was going to tell the rise of Xerxes, and it was going to be a prequel to 300. However, Frank Miller being Frank Miller, got halfway through and went, I'm in no rush. At which point, like, the screenwriter's going, but what happens? And so they then panicked and went, make things up! And that's what's left the imbalance, and that's how it went from being a prequel to a sidequel.
Yeah.
Because they basically couldn't think what Frank Miller would have took it, and so started to go, well, when they referred to something going on elsewhere, let's try and show that.
See,
I don't think there's enough films where they run alongside the previous film. I do like that as a thing. To me, it helps to expand the world.
Back to the Future trilogy did it perfectly.
Yeah.
Apparently, preferred in the Cinderella films.
The what, sorry? I haven't seen that actually. Stitch in Time. No, is it Stitch in Time?
It's called Stitch in Time.
Yeah,
I've not seen it, but
the third Cinderella movie.
But I've not seen 300 Rise of an Empire, and it's because it just doesn't draw me in because of the whole. It was started as a Frank Miller idea and then became someone else's who had nothing to do with the original film, and it kind of cobbled it together. And then it got delayed from release for an extra year, even though it was pretty much in the can. That led me to think they've got no confidence in this film, so I'll wait until the home release and then have lower expectations.
300, the first one. It's much more well written. Like David Wenham's narration in it is, for lack of a better word, in 300, it's in 300 it's elegant. And they tried to do that again a little bit in Rise of an Empire. It's even got David Wenham in it for a little bit, and his dialogue is it's not nearly to the quality of 300. And when you can't reach the quality of that, which isn't exactly the greatest screenplay ever written, then I think you're in trouble.
I'd like to see the entire film about his character.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah. I just really like David Wenham.
I like David Wenham.
He's not a big enough role in enough films.
No, he even gets his most interesting plot in Lord of the Rings cut down.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty much the only film that I've seen over the past, since the last recording is, last recording I went on record to say that Her is the best film of the year, and nothing's going to beat it.
I would agree.
I'm now going to take back that
I'm not going
and just
to
say Grand Budapest Hotel has become my favourite film of the year. It is a beautiful masterpiece from Wes Anderson. I'm a big Wes Anderson fanboy. I love everything he's done. And this is, I think it's his most perfect film, although it's not my favourite of his. My favourite will still be Rushmore, because that's the one that drew me into Wes Anderson's style of filmmaking. But this is his most perfect film in that it's got the best flowing story. There's no randomness that goes on that doesn't link. Everything happens for a reason.
The Lego Movie's Fighting Back. That was to be the favourite movie of the year.
The Lego Movie is my favourite animated movie of the year. Yeah. But although there is animation, Grand Budapest Hotel.
It's your favourite movie based on a toy?
Yeah. Not Grand Budapest Hotel. You can get one. Yes. I'm buying it and go to Toys R Us later.
Lego, make that.
No, I just thought it's a beautiful looking film. It's so well populated with a strong cast. And I was just big beaming smile all the way through. Loved every minute of it. I thought that what I call Wes Anderson's mathematical perfections in camera work.
The symmetry of it all.
It's like he sets it up, it's like everything's got to be measured and then it spins perfectly to 90 degrees to follow someone and then tracks along for exactly 20 metres and then everything's really meticulously detailed and panned out. Perfect film, and I loved it immensely. Anyone else had the chance of seeing this beautiful delight of a film?
I've seen it twice. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Briefly said about the tracking shots. I do love his way.
Just completely still camera.
The tracking shots are incredible. My favourite one was in Darjeeling Unlimited, where there's a funeral scene, and there's a song by the Kinks that's playing in the background and follows it along.
Yeah, he's got a great ear for picking out some really great tracks.
Yeah, but what I've loved about his last two films, it's not very popular songs it's been doing, and it's been more kind of classical works, and it's not been just popular songs from like the 60s and 70s. There's no Rolling Stones, there's no Kinks.
I would pretty much agree with both what you two said. I don't think I loved it quite as much as you two. I came out, I was like, that was a Wes Anderson movie. I really liked it.
It was probably the most Wes Anderson.
Yeah, well, yeah. I thought that after Moonrise Kingdom, and then this has come out. Yeah.
Wait till the next film.
But neither of you two have mentioned Ralph Fiennes, who is incredible. If it didn't have Ralph Fiennes, I don't think the movie would work nearly as well. If it was like Jason Schwartzman in that role, or any other Wes Anderson-ite person, I don't think it would have been as good. But Ralph Fiennes and I'm sorry, I don't know the kid's name who plays
Tony Valvoli or something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
Let's call him. I don't think he's ever done.
Yeah, the double act of those two and the relationship with Saoirse Ronan, Agatha, was the linchpin. I really liked that. Ralph Fiennes needs to do more comedy if he can.
His talent's a knack for wit throughout it. You had a chance to watch it?
I did, yeah. I really enjoyed Willem Dafoe's character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how
Lovely
just
and menacing.
The scene with
brilliantly
Jeff
bad
Goldblum,
was he?
the whole scene with Jeff Goldblum and Willem Dafoe was probably one of the best scenes of the year so far. I loved that. That was really good.
I'm throwing a cat.
Did you just throw my cat out the window?
Oh yeah, it's cracking film. Great
Yeah,
cast.
definitely.
Yeah, it's,
I really enjoyed it. I don't know why, but I do like Moonrise Kingdom more. But
I
really
completely
enjoyed
agree with you. Yeah, maybe that was just the way, the place we were when we watched that. I really loved Moonrise Kingdom, and I didn't like
it.
season
I like to
two.
insinuate something.
like I say, for me,
I did kidnap you after that movie.
For me, Rushmore's that's the highlight of, or, you know, it introduced me to Wes Anderson films, and also I could kind of relate to that, like, social outsider who tries to be part of everything and wants to achieve this, achieve that, but lets himself down in other parts. And I kind of latched onto that aspect of the character. Yeah. Loved it.
I've been a bit hit and miss with Wes Anderson. I really liked Grand Budapest and loved Moonrise Kingdom. Rule of Tenenbaums I've not seen in about 10 years, so I can't really say if I liked it or not. But I hated Life Aquatic.
I don't understand why you hate it.
I
Like,
thought
this made me
probably
angry.
my
in the
favourite.
past.
I really disliked it. I don't know why.
Have you tried revisiting it?
It was about 2 years ago I watched it. It was before Moonrise Kingdom. I watched it. And
when I first watched Life Aquatic, I felt a bit disappointed by it because my expectations were high. But I've
It probably
revisited
was
it since,
that.
and it's grown.
it may be the fact that it was Wes Anderson and Bill Murray, and I may have to. I will try and rewatch it in time for the next podcast.
It is the
and
most
I will tell you guys know.
Bizarre film.
Yeah,
except for Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is just
Fantastic Mr.
absolutely
Fox, genius.
Yeah, I think that it was his best comedy, and then Grand Budapest happened, which is just hilarious in places. But there were some bits where Ray Fiennes is just having a big rant or something. I think it's one of the bits where he gets taken on the train by those guys, and he has so much of a rant. It reminds me of his character from In Bruges. And he kind of sounds like him a little bit. I was just like, oh, it's him. It's beautiful.
Sorry, I called you now.
Yeah.
Has there been anything else of note which has come out over the past few weeks?
Well, me and Kase have literally half an hour ago watched A Long Way Down. Who directed it, actually?
I don't know who directed it. It's based on
Nick Hornby.
Nick Hornby.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love the book.
Yeah, High Fidelity is one of my favourite books.
It's my favourite film.
And one of my favourite films, yeah. So I was quite excited for this. And it's not at that level. It's not at High Fidelity level, but it's still really, really enjoyable. It's got great gallows humour.
Is it about a boy level?
I haven't seen About a Boy, actually. I really should. Or read About a Boy, for that matter. I really liked it.
It's not as good.
Do you think it's not as good?
Yeah.
I know About a Boy is loved, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
I have
really
a weird soft spot for About a Boy, and I don't like Hugh Grant. Except for all of his, 20-odd characters in Cloud Atlas, which I just admire the dude for. But,
I actually quite like him because he got himself in a lot of trouble and did some really silly roles.
Yeah. You can't argue with that.
What is your favourite silly Hugh Grant role?
I think the sheer level of stupidity of his character in Four Winds and a Funeral always entertains me.
I really enjoy him in Love Actually. It's the greatest reason to piss off the United States.
What was
Take that, Billy Bob.
Yeah.
What was the X Factor American Idol style film?
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite fun.
He was the Simon Cowell guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hugh Grant was. Was Dennis Quaid?
I think Dennis Quaid.
Well, the girlfriend at the time originally bought it once, and the disc that was on there, it had American Dreams on, and she put it in, and it was just the Inside Man,
Whoa, contrast.
That's a completely different film, with Clive Owen.
Willem Dafoe? Willem Dafoe? No.
And
Denzel Washington. Where am I getting Willem Dafoe from?
Willem Dafoe, Denzel, very similar.
Willem Dafoe's back good at it.
Is Willem Dafoe? No, I'm sure. Is Willem Dafoe in that? I'm sure he is. It's
I
like
don't remember.
a cop or something. Well, I may be wrong. Again, someone let us know if this is right or wrong.
That's our Twitter feed at FilmFile UK. There might be some stale cookies in here if you can get that answer to us.
One of them's half-eaten, I should mention.
Half-eaten cookie to the person who gets it right.
I'll have to eat that one if I'm wrong.
I'll keep it.
Yeah, Long Way Down. It was fine. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
If you have read the book, there are changes as well in most adaptations. So just get over.
It's got a very likeable cast, and you can't help but not like that cast, can you? Like Pierce Brosnan and Aaron Paul.
I think Pierce Brosnan's having a bit of a career resurgence.
Yeah, he was great in The World's End. I didn't know he was in that. Sorry, people who haven't seen The World's End. I didn't know he was in
All
that.
6 of you.
Yeah, well, shame on you for one. It was great when he popped up, and he was really fun in that.
Right.
It's got to the level where he can kind of make fun of himself.
Definitely.
I have to confess, I did enjoy him in Mamma Mia.
Oh,
He is fun in that film. I agree with Jason on that one.
Wasn't he shirtless at one point as well?
Probably.
Oh.
He does some great dad dancing in Long Way Down.
Yeah,
That was quite a funny scene.
I'd imagine he does some dad dancing in Mamma Mia as well.
Oh, there's a
Oh, or is that not a joke?
It wasn't a joke.
there's not quite the opening shot, but there's a shot to spoil the premise of Long Way Down. It's about 4 people who meet on the roof as they're all about to kill themselves. Pierce Brosnan, there's a shot where the camera goes over his head and it's looking down, and I always quite like shots like that because I always get a little bit of vertigo from it. And if that kind of shot doesn't give me vertigo, then in my opinion it's not a very good shot. And this one did, and I really liked it. It was and then because it's spinning around him a little bit and really slowly, and there's the reveal that Tony Collette's behind him. And it was a really good way to open it because it's got the seriousness of someone about to kill themselves on one hand and the inappropriate humour of Tony Collette asking how long he's going to be. So
like,
that kind of
I'll
encapsulates the
give you a shout on the
movie.
way down.
Yeah, give you It's a great little lines like that all the way through. So I really like
I think whenever they do that, like panning over to someone on the ledge or something, and then it pans around so you see their face, they should always pop up a little message saying 3 cameramen died to bring you the
It was a very
In
impressive
memoriam,
shot, yeah. So whoever directed it, well done. We don't know who you are,
I
but
want a list of films which have those shots that have given you vertigo. In.
Mission Impossible 4, 5. Wait, what?
Men in Black
Ghost
3.
Protocol did it. You know,
What?
one of the tallest building in the world type thing. That one did it there. I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
Which is the Lord of the Rings
Men in
film?
Black 3? Was that when
When he has to
Zombie-
leap through time.
Down into
that's
the
right,
pits by...
Okay,
That's-
he steps towards
Two
the edge
Towers?
and then it pans across.
Two Towers of
yes.
Fellowship.
to look down.
I think it's Fellowship.
and then-
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because I remember
Yeah.
I went to the cinema the second time
That was alright.
to try and get that feeling again, and it didn't happen. So I was like, oh.
Anytime someone's high in a building, I'm all
And speaking
for
of
it.
people high in a building, Cheech and Chong are apparently going to reunite.
Are they not dead?
No, apparently not. I knew that Cheech was still alive because he's popped up in practically anything that Robert Rodriguez has done.
Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Just a movie. He's a hyena in Lion King.
Cheech and Chong are
Disney fact
looking
of
to
the
reunite.
day for you there,
I
guys.
think maybe they've been watching Harold and Kumar movies and thinking, hang on.
Or they've seen Dumb and Dumber about to do it.
These are just doing what we used to do. Why aren't we still doing it? So
Because they're about 70.
I love that idea of them just sat in some chairs, just like, oh, diddly. I'll reboot later.
I actually didn't know that
It's probably
Cheech and
a-
Chong was Cheech Marin. This is news to me.
You thought there was loads of famous people called Cheech.
I never made the connection between Cheech.
When I was a kid, my granddad used to make comments about Cheech and Chong at me, and I didn't understand what he meant. He's like, don't you end up like him? What are you talking
Well, you
about?
failed at that
It's got-
aspect, didn't you,
it was
Jason?
purely from reading all the production blogs and things like that and all the interviews around when Rodriguez was doing Desperado. And he said, he'd cast Cheech as the bartender because he just loves Cheech and Chong films. I was like, that's who he is! But no, they're going to reunite. Read that today.
That's
Bit of news.
could be interesting.
Could be interesting. It could prove that when you're 75 years old, a stoner comedy doesn't quite work.
Well, as a film, over the past 5, 6, 7 years, there's been films that have done that a fair bit, like sequelised films from the 70s, 80s and 90s, and have any of them been any good? Indiana Jones,
Nope.
Die Hard,
Nope.
Help me out.
I'm trying to think.
I think most of them have tried to blot from my memory.
Star Wars prequels. And they're trying to do Ghostbusters, which could go either way.
I am so against
Well,
that.
he has just left, hasn't he?
Ivan
Ivan
Reitman,
Reitman's
yeah.
gone.
Well, he's staying on as
He's staying on as
producer.
producer.
Yeah.
Have you heard who
Which, to be
apparently they're going to
fair,
get?
yeah,
as
Phil
director?
Lord and Chris Miller. No?
Well, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah,
I was
yeah.
just thinking that's ridiculous. How come they must have so many?
To be fair,
so many
Ivan
offers and
Reitman hasn't
projects
made a
on
good
it.
movie since Ghostbusters. Some would say. I would say Ghostbusters 2.
I didn't watch year one, but apparently
Oh, it's terrible.
It was awful.
Yeah. And My Super Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh, God.
That started off with promise and then got 20 minutes into it and went, nah.
I'm kind of...
He just didn't have the balls to carry it through.
I love Ivan Reitman for Ghostbusters and Space Jam. He hasn't aged well as a director. His best films are from the 80s and early 90s. So I would be happy to see... Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I think, would do a really good job with it, potentially. They've done a really good job with 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
And I saw the trailer for that the other day, 22 Jump Street, which
it'd be interesting to see. I just don't know how much validity is.
My biggest problem with...
It's good. Ghostbusters 3 is going to happen at some point.
My biggest problem with the Ghostbusters 3 is that for years, Dan Aykroyd and Hal Ramis have been chasing the idea.
They have final say, don't they? They can't make the movie without them saying so.
They were getting turned down from financing. No studio wanted to back it. Bill Murray was sulking.
Yeah.
Unless Bill Murray stopped sulking, no one would actually pay for it. Now that one of them's dead, it's like they're going, oh, well, we can cash in on the death. And I find it a bit distasteful that they weren't interested in it until one of them's freaking died.
Do you reckon they're going to have a really awkward scene where they have the ghost of...
It would not surprise me.
No, it'll do like an Indiana Jones thing where they pan across the table and just show a photo.
There's a picture of Sean Connery. That's awful. That was terrible, that was.
No, I just feel that, no, they weren't interested in doing anything at all. Dan Aykroyd had been trying for years with
I remember years ago, probably about 10 years ago now, there was a plot for an animated film, Ghostbusters Go to Hell, or something like that, which probably would have been set like just after Ghostbusters 2. That would have been really interesting.
The Ghostbusters video game for me is Ghostbusters 3.
Oh yeah, that was really good,
I haven't finished it.
It's a good game.
It's a good ending. Yeah. It plays out well. And Sony's Steve Jobs movie is circling Christian Bale, and David Fincher has said that he won't sign to it unless Bale's cast. Alan Sorkin's script, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not that bothered at all with finding anything more out about Steve Jobs, but Alan Sorkin's script, that's me.
Well, have you heard the setup for his script?
No.
It's set over 3 key...
it's like 3 short stories almost, isn't it?
3 short stories set over 3 key product launches. So it'll be the first ever Mac,
iPod,
and then something else.
iPad was a pretty big launch.
Maybe. I don't know. I think
iPhone?
It's something like iPhone or iTunes or something like that. But it's him backstage, and that's all it is. So just him waiting to go on stage.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Amazing speeches, because they were incredible. They were really good.
They found an interesting quote in Empire on Empire's website. Given his physical resemblance to the former Apple boss, Bale could certainly pull it off. And it's got 2 pictures of them side by side, and they look nothing alike, except they both kind of had beards.
Bale could pull it off.
I think he could pull it off. He's a solid actor.
Back in the day with...
Spooky.
Did anybody see that?
No, I didn't hear good things.
I've got it at home to watch, and I've just not got round to watching it yet.
I've heard good things about...
I haven't heard many good things about it.
I've heard he was good in it, but the film around him is pretty bad,
And reboot of The Grudge.
Yeah, isn't Sam Raimi...
He's doing something with it,
Sam Raimi's producer, because he was a producer on the US version of The Grudge, which was a remake of The Grudge anyway, which The Grudge had already been remade by the original director twice before. So now, do we need it rebooted again? Can't they just do a different ghost story? Is that few ideas when it comes to ghost stories that you have to go back to The Grudge?
He's definitely got a new story in him. So.
The original Ju-On for me is fantastic. Yeah, it's one of my favourite horror movies.
Ju-On freaked me out.
Yeah, really.
I still could, at the time when I was watching, I couldn't get used to the idea that none of the characters was safe.
Yeah,
because you're used to this whole.
You need to attach to someone, and
you can't because it's like, oh, I like you. Oh no, I don't really like you, but it's fine. You'll be, and it's an unusual viewing experience.
And the original Ju-On also beautifully used white noise and distorted sounds to really unnerve you, which the American adaptation failed in because it added violins and concerts. I love that whole...
I've not seen the remake. I just have the image of the original, the original Grudge
crawling down the stairs. That is...
Sometimes I still put my hands over my eyes.
I've just had a shiver go down my spine just thinking about that scene. I watched the original Ju-On at like 2:30 in the morning with the lights off, and I could not get up to switch the lights on afterwards. I just stayed on my couch and put a blanket around me.
There is if you're too scared of it, there's a really easy way to destroy it for yourself, so you can just continue through. And that is just, you remember that to these people at the start, it's just a regular day. You're going about their regular jobs. So this girl has gone into a house to do care work, and she like screams at the first phone call. And I don't know about you, but if I've ever been in anyone's house and the phone just rings, I don't poop myself. I tend to think someone's ringing. If they're not here, I'll answer it and say hello. I don't get scared. And you start to look at things like that and you notice that a lot of the people are scared before anything's happened, and it allows you to break it down, not be scared, and you're like, oh, thank God, I wasn't watching that properly.
Game of Thrones might be getting movies to finish off the adaptations.
Any form of Game of Thrones media, I am happy to ingest. I've just finished all the books, and
Rejoice!
Rob now has to be careful about what he says, so it's not to spoil.
Obviously, I don't know where a potential movie would go, but there's certainly scope for it.
Yeah, he's basically said that it'll get to a certain point of the series, and then it'll need to be grand scale, epic, and a movie. A trilogy of movies to complete it.
You say that. What's coming in the next season is pretty epic. And,
but this is part of that melding between TV and films that's going on a lot recently. I mean, Stephen King's Dark Tower is mooted as being a TV
is
and
that
film.
still happening?
It's still the pipeline.
Have
they still got Javier Bardem attached?
I think so.
I'll watch it if in the corner every time they've referenced Stephen King or he's referenced himself in the media. They should pop up in the corner. And it should just be a smug face.
I remember reading an interview with Ron Howard about the time Rush came out, and they asked him about if Stephen King was going to be in it. And I think they have written. There is a part of that in the.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens. I know Stephen King is in it at some point.
Stephen King writes himself.
Yeah, that's all I know. So I know he's. I don't know the spoilers.
It's not until much later on I didn't think that was sort of a widely known or. I think it's quite far into.
I just assume. Sorry, spoilers.
It becomes a major plot point.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You just sit there and you're like.
So is Stephen King writing the Dark Tower as he's in the Dark Tower? Is that?
Well, I don't want to spoil it.
So okay, fair enough.
It is quite clever the way that it works, and it also refers to his accident as well.
Yeah,
part of the storyline. That was quite cleverly done.
Because I didn't know anything about it, now I don't have to wiki his accident.
Yeah,
I just assumed where it was.
Let everyone know in his book. But now, the whole idea was to be start with a film, which would be The Gunslinger, which that would work well as a film.
Yeah.
That'd be a great, almost a western, but in a surreal landscape. And then a series to do the next book or two, and then another film, and then a series, and then another film. I like that melding.
Yeah, that would be.
Was Javier Bardem decent casting for it? I remember Viggo Mortensen was rumoured around a couple of years ago.
Would be Roland to a T. Oh. He has got the right looks.
Who could play Stephen King?
Stephen King. I don't know.
Christian Bale.
His son.
Christian Bale
He play everyone.
Yeah, Christian Bale cast for everything. But TV adaptation of Fargo got a full trailer released in the last 24 hours,
and
it's looking quite good.
The teaser, but the teaser excited me.
Yeah,
all the teaser was just Billy Bob Thornton outside his car, scraping all the ice off the car. And even that, I was like, oh, I'm so excited.
The one which has been released, you'll be able to find it online. Have a look at it. It looks like it's got the actual tone, the level of black humour's in there. I'm excited for it.
It's not a straight remake, is it?
No, it's just inspired by.
Yeah.
In the same way that the Hannibal TV series is inspired by the characters of the book, and is going to work too. Season 4 is going to be Red Dragon. Season 5 is going to be Silence of the Lambs. Season 6 is going to be Hannibal.
Is it though? Because the little that I know about Hannibal is the kind of twisting what you would expect to happen in a TV show about Hannibal Lecter.
Brian Fuller in his latest interview has confirmed that 4, 5 and 6 are going to follow those, and then 7 is going to be planned.
Brian Fuller's getting to a season 7. Slow down.
If he gets past season 2, it'll be great. He's got so excited because this is his most successful show. Except for Dead Like Me probably was successful, but Showtime won't release the
Pushing
actual
Daisies
figures.
is incredible, and you should all go watch Pushing Daisies.
Everyone should watch Pushing Daisies.
Yeah, it's the most happy.
Season 7 will be the resolution of everything of Hannibal's life, so it'll be unwritten story about Hannibal to finalise it. I think it's very ambitious of Brian Fuller to plan that far ahead, knowing his history.
It's good that he is, though.
I'd love to see that.
If they get that far, then it's really good that they're planning that far ahead. But when was the last time the show got to 7 seasons?
Oh,
Mad Men.
Is Mad Men at 7 seasons?
On 7.
7.
Game of Thrones. Are we talking about just general shows?
Well,
not rubbish like
last
Friends.
couple.
Because I was going to throw it always.
Or Crap Bang Theory.
What's that on? 8 and 9 now, isn't it? Yeah. Well, How I Met Your Mother. Yeah. Well, what drama? What
solid drama?
So Mad Men would be one.
Why I Got to 5.
Breaking Bad's got
What did
5.
Sopranos get to?
Supernatural isn't a drama, but it's made it to 8, isn't it?
Supernatural
9.
annoys me so much.
9.
Yeah.
I've heard that Supernatural should
And it's been
have...
recommissioned for a 10th.
I've never watched it, apparently the end of 5 is when...
The
Yeah,
original,
I've
the
watched
original
this-
creative force behind it said that 5 was the final season.
I've watched
And
as
then
far
the
as
rights
I've
season
heard
5.
amazing things about
Don't
5.
wa- I tried watching past 5 and
Yeah.
I got struggled through number 6, got halfway into 7 and gave up.
I've heard that like what they generally do is they just go, what did we do in earlier seasons and how can we do it again? And
Apparently
we're all
season
known.
8 is better,
Okay.
but I'm sorry.
Saying much.
That
It's
was
become a
saying.
parody of itself.